Hello, John. Hello, John.
Hello, Oliver.
Can you hear me okay? You can?
Yeah, I can hear you, Grant. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, sir. So, today we're going to talk about
Oh,
angels. We're going to talk about Saint Teresa of Avila and the Transverberation. So, who was she? Teresa of Avila lived from 1515 to 1582. She was a Spanish Carmelite nun, reformer, and mystic. She is a doctor of the church for her profound writings on prayer and the soul's union with God. Her experience in her autobiography, Vida, she describes a vision in which she saw an angel beside her. The angel was small, of great beauty, with a face so aflame that it appeared to be one of the highest angels. He held a long golden spear tipped with fire. The angel pierced her heart several times with the fiery spear, leaving her all on fire with a great love of God. She described it as intensely painful and deeply sweet, a spiritual wound that made her desire only to be with God. The theological meaning in this is mystics interpret this as a mystical marriage, a soul united with God in the deepest intimacy. The wound of love represents the soul being purified and consumed by divine love. The paradox of pain and joy reflects the consuming nature of God's presence. It burns but also fulfills completely. John Malone, over to you.
that's right. Yeah, well, I have a book about Teresa of Avila. She was a Carmelite, and she was the mother superior. And the Carmelites had gone into some disorder, and she improved the situation. She work in the Carmelite order, getting order into it and getting the it in a better shape. She was a great prophet, making things better than they had been, and having the adoration and the hymns and all the rest of it that these nuns are famous for now. Reformer from the point of view of the Carmelite nuns, because in the club they had gone a bit astray, and she encountered trouble as she was doing. But she proceeded, and her read her the book that I have, and it's not a big book. It's small enough. It's easy to read, and she's it's a great. And I don't know whether I ever did it with some of my when I read some do. For example, I'm doing Archbishop Fulton a book about learning Christ, and he was a great broadcaster, able to put things very simple and straightforward, uh, such a way that anybody that would want to criticize or what have you, no ground to do so. He was just one of the most popular. The point of view of the television station, I think it was NBC. He was very his program was more watched it because they want to be up. They say this when you seek that when you seek do good and live a good Catholic life, shall we say, and you're often getting because you're doing be tempted or the evil one is going to try and bring what along your way. I think I mentioned to you there recently the way it was €250, not a fortune, but your advice was for about what I would need to do by way of cancelling a credit card.
Yeah.
So, so like this is the best of sharing stuff that happened, and of a villa was great in that way, and so was uh, other famous people that did it. Don't forget the sister mother, Mary Aiken, which is Martin. She founded an order, and she was from the family of TC, or hardware merchants in D'Olier Street. So these nuns did, in their time, give an education to people and given guidance and so on and so forth. And I think we found in our travels when we were down in Kenmare, we found that the poor Clare nuns, the same different order, the poor Clare nuns came and in 1861 was not long after Catholic emancipation, and it was just very soon, only a year after the famine, in which 100 people died, including in Kenmare and other parts. So they would have it would have times, but they gave employment to girls and boys, and so sort of, if you like, angelic ways to do things, and eternally grateful for the great education that the Sisters of Mercy and Presentation Sisters. My sister was educated by sisters in Tuam, County Galway, as a border, and you couldn't ask for better. They were just great, better than what we might have experienced ourselves in. For the few years I was in a boarding school, and but I couldn't wait to get. And yet, when you're going first, but after a bit, you found that starvation and in the winter, because we seem to have hard winters them times, much harder than we by comparison. And you were just doing this the whole time to try. The same way as when you were going to the primary school, there was only a tough fire. So I'm not uh, about practicing your Catholic faith. And
I
on that, what?
I just want to ask you,
Go
John,
ahead.
do you feel that you ever have been in the presence of an angel?
Well, no, I was telling you there yesterday, at an event. I was staying with my friend for a couple of days from Thursday to this morning, and on Thursday evening, we visited. I wanted to see a holy well, and he made so it wasn't too far. He lives in a place called Feltham, which is outside town, and this fella, Sir, the lawyer in Boyd at the time, Sir Cecil King Harmon, and all his he donated a tract of land in Cardiff State that locals could graze cattle or horses if they wished. There was a facility, so it was like it, and but that's where the Holy Well is. Further on, there's a few, maybe 30 or 40 acres or something, kind of going out in a kind of a and people have horses there from the local term, a council estate, but it's vastly improved now. The way a lot of council estates improved, so we visited. But as we went down, it's not a path, a kind of grass, and a gate, and like a rope or a bit of a style that you get over. But I'm not fit now to be going over styles. Gosh, no, he went over. My friend Michael, he seems to be fitter, and though he's still smoking. And you might be talking to the wall just to give him a bit of advice. Anyways, but the gate was open, but this lady was coming towards us, and we were down at the Holy Well. She was, and she came back down with us. And going down, there was a bit of a drive, so she held my hand in case I capsized, as, as I can do. And so we're down there, and she mentioned she put her feet in the Holy Well. And she also mentioned a funny thing was coming along the path, there was a certain aura of peace or whatever it was that you're talking about. It was very strange, and she was from Australia, but
Wow.
living in apparently Greystones.
Okay.
Penny was her name.
Penny.
Uh, you know, Penny, yeah. You can think of pennies. Well, pennies, we had pennies in our time. 3 pennies in your pocket. Even 2 pennies, you could get a tuppenny ice cream. And now it wouldn't be as thick, but if you might say, well, give us a bit more than what you're at there. Uh, anyway, I'm just talking about that kind of thing. So my myself and herself, and then I took one of Michael and this lady. So it wasn't strange to be coming along a path that you wouldn't expect. Maybe maybe some kind of an animal, but you wouldn't expect to see a person.
It
Very
sound
strange.
it sounds like
And then what?
it sounds like you fell in
Sounds
love with
like
an
what?
angel.
But you wouldn't you see there you are. Supposed to say then I queried about where there might be a mass rock,
Okay.
and so the thought it was somewhere down this, but you're going down toward somewhere just you're going down and you can turn off them, but left sort of up the old road a bit. But it was so vague and it was there, so I decided to inquire when I went into the tourist office. I bought the books. I bought the book that he had, and then I bought one about the occupants of King House. That was 10 something. Cost me took the what was it? 1997, cost me about 27 euros for two. They wouldn't be thick, so you should read them handy enough. But anyways, I asked the one there thing to see that she know she was English. Nice enough and friendly enough. Well, where's St. Patrick's Well? I asked her. Well, she was giving me something up in Roscommon first, and I said, one near Boyle. So then, oh yeah, there's one Tarman. Well, I said, oh, it's in the town, so that could be easily found. I said, where's there's a marsh rock? So she looked at that and she said, Deer Park. Well, I remember Deer Park, but for the life of me now, I can't think of it. It's only about a mile from the town. So she said the fella in the Abbey, it's, there's part of it reformed there. They improved it and did a great job. Oil is awash with history. Anyways, but I said I get it another time, please God, because I wanted to go to Knock and to have papers like the Irish Catholic and other one and the Cure Story that I'd have read and I marked them. I wanted to put them in a couple of churches on the journey, and I did go into one church and I put it. And that's where I said the Stations of the Cross because I didn't have time to do that when I was in. I don't have time to do much of your stuff except I did do my videos. But you're talking about the experience and getting the. You nearly have to dig for it. And as we were talking about, when we were talking about point of view of tourism and the way it's after declining, we come up with that. And really, you're not alone. You actually have people that's actually giving advice because I don't think they will know it at these places. The thing is, they should be considering that they're giving at least visit the St. Patrick's Well and visit the Mass Rock so as to have some experience because they're in the business of tourist advice. Coming from,
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
well, if you're going into a tourist place, a tourist office in Boyle, and haven't got the information in the full sense of the word. In at St. Patrick's Well, for example, and have never been at the Mass Rock. And anybody dealing with tourist business in any town, if things like what we're talking about, Mass Rocks and Holy Wells and that type of thing, monasteries, they're fairly easy to find in some ways, but the others are not so easy to find
Yeah.
because they're
I
not
know.
signposted around
That's right. That's right. Now I know
them.
you're going to.
So, so if the tourist office doesn't know it and has to look it up on the internet, that's not.
Yeah. So I know you're busy there. You're going to mass. So that was Saint Teresa of Avila, and sometimes we are in the company of angels probably, and we don't actually realize it. But it's you had a lovely
That's
experience
right.
there as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, correct. And I on the first Friday, so I'm fortunate to be in Knock. I inquired a confession in what they call a reconciliation. And funny enough, it was an Indian priest, very well, and he, made my confession, and he told me that he's going on for a doctorate. And I said, well done. I get my card. So you have a look at that, you'll see that what we're at.
Very good, very good.
One of those.
Okay.
So that's the way it is, Oliver. Well, now I'm expecting you to visit on Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll talk about that offline. Okay. So thank you very much.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
You're
Bye
most
bye.
welcome.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Cutie boy.
Bye bye.